everybody? Feeling good today on the Brother from Another program. I like to call it a program. It's not a show, it's a program. It's not even a program or a show, it's a way of life. Brother from Another. Whether you're listening on Sirius XM Channel 85, watching on PeacockTV.com, watching on YouTube, listening wherever you listen to podcasts, we appreciate you. Glad to have you. And I'm going to start off the show this way with an apology. I usually don't start with an apology. I have to apologize for the thoughts I've had in the last, not even 24 hours. I know where your mind is going. Shame on you. You're thinking dirty. You're thinking the wrong way. No. These are football thoughts, and I should know better because I live in the Northeast. It's still technically summer. I mean, I had the windows open last night because it was hot. There's a lot of football to be played. Cold weather games haven't happened. All the cliches that we say, you find out about a football team, what it has and what kind of resolve it has in November and December and January. We're not there yet. It's not even Earth, Wind, and Fire Day yet. That's coming tomorrow. So I should know better. I need somebody to slap me. I need somebody to bring me back to about my football center. Because the thought I had last night was nobody can stop Buffalo. I should know better than that. It's only 2 games. They've only trucked 2 opponents. The Rams on the road, the Titans at home. They look dominant. They look unstoppable. But I keep having this thought that forget about the record, because you really gonna want to slap me when I say this, okay? I'm not talking about the record. I'm talking about the last time I felt this way about a football team, where I saw a team play and I just went round and round thinking, how can someone stop a team like this dominant, this overwhelming, this complete? And last time I had a thought like that, the year, my friends, was 2007. And the New England Patriots, back in the old world, when they played 16-game regular seasons, way long time ago, they played 16-game regular seasons. The New England Patriots played 16 in the regular season and won 16. Now, what I'm telling you is I don't believe the Buffalo Bills are going to go undefeated, but I usually don't have thoughts like this about football teams. I certainly don't have thoughts like this in September. But I do now. You look at Josh Allen, the Stephon Diggs, and clearly that's not changing. That's the best quarterback in the division, probably the best quarterback, or well, second best quarterback in the AFC, Patrick Mahomes, throwing to one of the best receivers. But they didn't even have Gabe Davis last night. They weren't even stressed with the running game. They didn't have to make really many great defensive plays. The game was over in the third quarter. The game was over. Who can stop the Buffalo Bills? That's the thought I'm having today. And I feel like nobody's up to the task. And I know that's not right. But I can't shake that thought. So I need some help. I need our guest today to help me out. I'm going to ask every guest that we have today, hey, tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me to calm down. Tell me it's too early. You sound like you never watched a football game before. You've never been through an NFL season, Michael Holley. So we're going to go to some people who really, especially Brandon, like knows this, loves this show and loves football. Brandon Newman, Mike Golic Jr., I was just doing a podcast with them. Seems like yesterday. We were talking about the AFC East. And fellas, I think I said then, Buffalo Bills, Ivy League, everybody else, community college. Right. So where am I all wrong, though? Tell me that I'm overreacting to what I've seen in 2 weeks with the Buffalo Bills.
I mean, I don't think you are necessarily. This is particularly impressive because, number one, of the opponents they face. You mentioned the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams in week 1, that they went out on the road at their coronation night when you have their banner going up and absolutely drubbed them. And then you take, while a very different roster, I understand, especially with A.J. Brown leaving this offseason, the Titans were still the 1 seed in the AFC last year, even if we didn't buy that. So it wasn't like a team that was coming up last year after picking in the top 10 in the draft. And they went out and they made it look easy. And you guys know this. In the NFL, we talk all the time now, especially post 2011 CBA, about how different the approach is to the beginning of the season, because you don't really have everyone approaching preseason football the same way. So the first quarter of the season is supposed to be where you kind of work out some of the issues. And right now, this Buffalo team has gone out and looked like an absolute meat grinder without Gabe Davis last night, and on defense without Tre'Davious White, who you could argue is, probably not argue, when healthy, their best cornerback, who's on the PUP list still right now through the early portion of this season. And yet they look deep, they look potent on offense, and defensively, they took Derrick Henry and once again completely eliminated him from the game plan. So no, I don't think this is hyperbole. Buffalo came in as the Super Bowl favorite. Josh Allen came in as the MVP favorite, and they've done nothing to dissuade us so far.
Yeah, honestly, Mike, I want to know why you think that Patrick Mahomes is better than Josh Allen's right now.
So I would say this: the one thing we can look at from the game last night that was interesting.
Mike Golic, not you, Michael Holley. I want to talk to Michael Holley about why he thinks Patrick Mahomes. Excuse me, my mics.
Hey, Brandon Newman, you haven't been gone so long that you don't know my name. Who the hell is Mike? I don't go by Mike.
True. That's true.
I'm not a Mike.
True.
I'm Michael.
I apologize.
No, Mike
I just had to ask Brandon.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
that's why I thought you were talking to Golic. Anyway, why is okay? Where it's very close, right? When you're talking about all-time greats and who's better, essentially you have to get down to that point where nobody really likes getting there. Nobody likes to do it because it's not on one guy. But if you look at the winning percentage and winning in big games, you got to give it to Mahomes. Not to say that Josh Allen can't. I'm not saying he can't do it, but it's just you have to. If you're getting to, it's like the 7th or 8th tiebreaker. Both guys, read defenses. Both guys have great arms. Both guys make the best out of their roster. Both guys have won a bunch of games, but Patrick Mahomes has been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1. He's matched up with Josh Allen and the Bills twice in the playoffs. He's 2-0 in those situations. So I give him the edge. It's not like he's like he's ahead by 75 points, but I will give the edge to Patrick Mahomes because you're playing this game for one reason, and that is to win championships. That's your goal, and he's done it, and Josh Allen hasn't done it yet.
Michael, I will say to that standpoint, too, the thing that because I agree with you. I think Patrick Mahomes, and I've said, is the best quarterback in football until further notice. And some of that is also Mahomes has already had to do the adjustment. We went through this whole thing last year where we talked about how different everyone was playing the Chiefs. And now going into this season, the weapons changed. Tyreek Hill no longer lives there and is down in Miami helping Tua in the fastest offense in the NFL. And we saw how different that made their game plan look going up against, let's say, the Los Angeles Chargers this last Thursday night, where you saw overall from Andy Reid on down a bit more of a conservative game plan, bigger personnel groups, Patrick Mahomes having to spread the wealth and be the game breaker on a team that may no longer have that at the rest of their skill positions. He's had to weather that and already come out on the other side and shown us he's more than capable of doing so. For Josh Allen and the Bills, they got some of that same stuff last year, and some teams started to defend them in a similar way, but I think we still haven't had to see that offense do a major shift. We've watched Josh Allen improve every year in a way that defied expectation. But if I'm going to look for a reason why I'd give it to Pat, it's because he's already had to make a major adjustment and showed no drop off in his skill or his approach to the game.
Brandon, you're furrowing your brow. You're furrowing. What are you thinking? I'm just wondering what's on your mind. Or is this? Let me just call you out here for a second. Is this a Ravens thing? Somehow do the Ravens factor in? Like, we're not talking about the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, and let's not forget about that. Or, tell us what you're processing right now.
Well, live right now, I'm processing the lawnmower outside my garage right now. So I feel like Michael Smith back in the day when we were competing with his landscaping. So that was my furrowed brow. But yes, I do have an issue because Damian Woody of ESPN fame recently said that Josh Allen was the best dual threat quarterback in the NFL. And I'm sitting back thinking about my Lamar Jackson. I'm like, what is missing here? Why do people, and obviously the winning, the success, I think Josh Allen's probably the most decorated, the most efficient dual threat quarterback, but the best, most talented. I mean, you got look what Lamar Jackson did last week.
Yeah, I think that's true. I don't know how you feel about it, Mike. I mean, if I just said, if you describe it that way, if you say dual threat quarterback, well, Lamar Jackson, as Brandon said, 79-yard run last week. It's been over 1,000 yards as a runner. He's been an MVP of the league. He passes really well. He's got a great arm. So if you just say dual threat quarterback, okay, he's got to be one, right?
Yeah, I disputed this with Brandon a little bit when I first heard it, but I think especially now what's going to be interesting is part of this also has to be about consistent use, right? And what we've seen in the conversation we've heard around Buffalo early this season is, are they going to try and maybe lessen the Josh Allen designed rushing attempts in this offense early on in the season, try and maybe save that for when they need it in the postseason and take hits off his body, because he's one of the guys that gets hit a ton, even with maybe the sack numbers not being egregious. He's just a physical player, the way he's built and the way he operates. For Lamar Jackson, him as a rusher has to be a part of that offense. The way the Ravens and Greg Roman have structured that offensive system, you need Lamar Jackson rushing attempts in there. The zone read stuff that they do in that offense, having 2 and 3 tight ends on the field, works when you've got the most dynamic run threat by far. Him and Josh are very different as far as the dual portion of the threat that they provide, but that also at times I think has been used as a disservice to Lamar Jackson, the passer, that so far we've seen shine during the early portion of this NFL season.
I want to ask you guys, going back to Buffalo and in Kansas City, it may not be that. There are surprises every year in the playoffs, and we think, okay, these are the 2 best teams they're going to meet for the right to go to the Super Bowl. It may be somebody else, but let's say it's Buffalo and Kansas City again. What has changed from last year? Is Von Miller, is that the big difference, that if you have Von Miller, you just kind of drop in? If you could time travel and you say, hey, if you had Von Miller last year, you drop him in. They never are able to do what they did in 13 seconds because Patrick Mahomes still looks great. Josh Allen was great last year in the playoff game, looks great now. Is that the big difference that will get Buffalo over the top of Kansas City?
I think the difference maker is not having Tyreek Hill back there. Now, you and I were doing the show live when the Tyreek Hill trade went down, and I said I didn't think that he was a top 5 wide receiver. He's gone over there with Mike McDaniels and Miami Dolphins and proven that he is the top 5 wide receiver in these first 2 weeks. So I think the offense is so different now. Patrick Mahomes has to be more precise on every play. Obviously, we haven't seen Kelsey tear it up the way that Tyreek Hill has, because it used to be just like bang, 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 a bunch of weapons. Everyone was in the end zone. This offense moves a little bit differently. They're kind of moving the sticks. They're going a little bit more methodical. And also, you got the flats getting played with so much with Hilaire, with the running backs for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't see the big take the top off the defense the way they still have it with Stephon Diggs over there with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that would probably be my chief worry also. I think the Von Miller factor is absolutely something that compounds that, right? And Von Miller, it's like, you got to let the flavor sit and soak in there, because he's going to be great on his own. But the other effect he has is on the continued development of a young defensive line room that they've spent a lot of draft capital on. And you saw with Greg Rousseau out of Miami, AJ Epinesa out of Iowa, all the guys they've been able to amass. I mean, they didn't even have Ed Oliver on the field, who's a huge factor in their run stopping, and they were still able to shut guys down. But what Von does as a teacher, he's the guy that runs the pass rush summit every offseason. He's gifted enough as an individual, talent-wise, athletically, but also built with that. I think he affects a room. But then, when you need him in big moments, we saw, again, to go back and reference the Chargers game, because I think it's an interesting comp. The Chiefs lower margin for error because they can't just go and Golden State Warriors you all of a sudden now, where they're going to be able to put up monster points and come back and do what, quite frankly, the Dolphins did in the fourth quarter of that game against the Ravens. I think as often now, just because the speed dynamic doesn't work the same for them. So I think that part of it, combined with, can the Chiefs, knowing that's the way their offense is going to flow, mitigate pass rush in the same way? Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa in that game on Thursday night had to be accounted for on every play. That is as dynamic a pass rush as you're going to see. The Bills, while they may not have another, pass rusher of Von Miller's caliber necessarily alongside him, it's still one where they're going to have enough of a plan where it changes the math and it allows that Buffalo secondary to be really aggressive with the Chiefs passing attack that right now can't go and threaten you deep with speed the way they used to be able to.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, Tyreek Hill, when we were talking about the top 10 players, I had to come up with a list. Because everybody has a list at the beginning of the season. Okay, top 100 players in the league, top 50 players in the league. And I just came up with the top 10 players, and I put, against my better judgment, I put Tyreek Hill at number 9, just because your whole franchise outlook changes when you have Tyreek Hill on your team. I mean, we're talking about Miami. Miami came back against, Jalen Waddle was great. But Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill allowed them, both of them, allowed them to come back against Baltimore. Yeah, it's not that simple, but sometimes it is that simple. That guy is a game changer. You have him on your team. You can dream bigger when you got Tyreek Hill on your side. Now, let me ask you guys this, because we haven't talked about this yet, and I want to get to it before we run out of time. How you guys think about college football? What do you think about college football so far this year?
Come on, Michael Holley.
I'm just wondering. How's the college football season going? You both went to Notre Dame. I'm just wondering how you feel about Notre Dame's season, particularly the first game of the year at Ohio Stadium. What did you guys think?
I think that if I'm Ohio State fans, I'm wondering, all right, is my defense as good as we thought it was after seeing what the Notre Dame offense did in week 2 after Marshall?
You turned it back on us. You can't do that.
I know.
Look in the mirror.
I will say, by the way, I think Ohio State is going to be really good. I think that's going to be a team that's probably in the national championship with, at this point, you'd have to say Georgia. I mean, that's been the best team in college football far and away so far this season. Notre Dame, man, we're in a year that is about growth for the future. We are investing in ourselves right now. We are drinking water and taking hot girl walks. And we understand that bringing Marcus Freeman over to be a first-time 36-year-old head coach was going to come with a bit of a learning curve in certain spots. And I think some fans are more prepared for that than others. So, again, I am manifesting the future that we want to see, focusing on the quality recruiting rankings for the next class, and saying this is going to be a year where we learn, where we grow together as a program, and we get ready for even better things to come. That's a great answer. I got to tell you, that's a very diplomatic. Now, if you believe it, it's even better, but that is a great answer. I would buy that. Hey, it's the George Costanza. It's not a lie if you believe it. And at this point, I have talked myself into it enough in front of my mirror every day that I believe it.
Listen, Notre Dame.
Number 1 recruiting class next year, Brandon. Number 1.
Perfect
ahead
segue.
of Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia.
Perfect segue, Michael Holley. I wanted to talk about the youth of this Notre Dame football team. Obviously, old gold and navy blue are our colors, but we have a very young head coach and an even younger team trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. And I think you're dealing with a very conservative-minded Marcus Freeman, who is still obsessed with coaching specific sides of the ball. I read an article recently where he spends half the time with the defense and offense and things like that, where I haven't seen that from any head coach. I haven't seen that from any head coach I've ever been around. They focus on the big picture, managing the game, kind of have it like all the way zoomed out, and they trust their coordinators to do that. Now, obviously, Marcus Freeman trusts his coordinators, especially Tommy Rees, to do right by our offense, but there's a lot of new parts. A lot of guys that haven't played a lot of football on the field there, and they have that big name, Notre Dame, attached to the back of their jerseys, front of their jerseys, and they got to live up to it. I think it's as easy as that. I think I'm enjoying the fact that we have a team that isn't chalk. What is it like to have a chalk team every year, Michael Holley? How boring is that? Tell us about it.
Oh, no, it's not boring. I can tell you this. I tell you it's not boring. And when you get those number 1 recruiting classes coming in, and you're a top 5 team every year, you won't be bored either. Nice try. Now, you don't believe that. You don't believe it. Work on that a little bit more.
I don't believe that for a second. I can tell you I enjoyed greatly the last 7 years when we were winning 10 games every season and going to the college football playoff. I will take that any day. I grew up like the meat of my childhood went Bob Davie, Tyrone Willingham. Like, I've seen a lot of losing football around Notre Dame's parts before. My dad was coached by Jerry Fowles. They have stricken that from the record books around Notre Dame.
Yes.
My dad says they talk about it like the dark ages. Oh, Jerry Fowles, an awesome guy, comes back and signs books at Notre Dame. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah.
wasn't a time that they like to talk about all that much. And so I get it. This is consistency's great.
I don't want that. I don't want the 10-win seasons, especially when we have a primetime record the way Kirk Cousins does. Like, if we get embarrassed when everyone's watching that same way. No,
Brandon, I don't know when you got this rich as far as a football fan, but no, I will absolutely take being better than 95% of college football, even if it means that we can't beat the space alien force that gets trotted out by a handful of teams every season. No, you sound crazy right now.
I love it.
I do best.
I love it. I'll leave you guys to argue. Hey, it's good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Door's always open. Brandon, Mike, anytime. Just swing on through. Good to see you both.
Thank you for.
Appreciate
I don't know what I'm saying. Thank you for having us, Michael Holley. I miss you. Love your shirt.
I miss you too. That's nice. There you go. You didn't even know how to say. You were hesitating. Should I say I miss?
I know.
Should I say that?
Men don't know how to talk to each other like that. And this is the only way we get a chance to catch up is jumping on each other's shows. So I'm glad you had us.
Jumping on the show. I love you. I love you, Brandon. I love you, Mike. Thank you.
Love you,
Michael.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.